Welcome back everyone to Welstopia, and today we are going to start on the water temple. Now why did I decide to start on this one first? And it's because I got a little bit of an idea on what to do with this, in that in the original module there was a monster in the water temple called the living pool. In Dungeons and Dragons Online, when they implemented the temple, the water temple had the living pool in it, but it was represented by a named gelatinous cube. Therefore, I was thinking, what if I got a large slime block in there captured within the water temple and used that? That sounds all nice and well, especially considering that based on my calculations, this area down to that area to this area down to that area is a slime block. In fact, if you remember when I was doing the tour, I was wondering where the local slime block was. Because down here is the spider spawner, and this looks like it's most likely the location of the slime block that was generating all the slimes that I occasionally hear in the area. So therefore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to carve out the area for the water temple so that I have it all carved out. And once I have it carved out, I can see what I have to do in order to take advantage of the slime block. Because right now, I am a couple of blocks too high right here, but just a few blocks down I'll be within spawning range where I could actually get slimes to spawn. So, time for me to start digging. Here is the result of our digging. This is the outline for the water temple. The outer part of the temple in the original module has a arched ceiling going up to about 30 feet high. Now, unfortunately, we've got this floor to the previous level at 25 feet high. So therefore, obviously, I'm not going to be able to achieve that. And doing an arch ceiling at this scale is also going to be difficult. So therefore, I'm going to change that to a sloped ceiling. I'm going to start at 3 blocks there, have it go up to at the 7th block would be the peak of it, and then coming back down, and that will give me the effect that I want. In here we have the second part, which is this little bit of a corridor leading into the pool room. These are the quarters for the clerics. In the DDO version, they have water elementals at the two ends there. I have to see what I want to do with it. And then finally, this will be our pool room, which will be where we'll have the representation of our living pool. Now, as I said in the previous clip, I was considering trying to capture a live slime and have the slime over here. And I've reconsidered that thought. I am going to have to raise that ceiling up a little bit. Instead, I am going to use slime blocks and create a non-animated one. This is partly because I just don't feel like going all the way down and having stairs down, going out to the right level in order to get the slime blocks, because I'm a few blocks above the level where slimes can spawn. That's only partly the reason. The other reason is, when I was thinking about these quarters, I thought, shouldn't I have some clerics here? So therefore, I've asked Stina Rose in order to send some clerics my way. And she asked for some puzzle in return for that. And since I am on a mega taiga, I've got puzzle around. So therefore, I'm getting some clerics from her in return for that. And I think there is one ready for delivery right now. Here we are at Stina Rose's hub. I can't remember the last time I showed this, but we have banners. She's put the banners up since the last time I showed you. These are banners of all the people she has dealings with on the server. Now, she didn't bother with one for me because I've got a pair of banners already up for the section leading up to my base. Some nice chandeliers there, and since last time, she has added an access to the tunnel I normally use, so therefore this is now my normal tunnel I use in order to head out to the main center of the server. This is the area that I used to use, but I only use this now if I ever need to go to the end, since that leads to the most convenient end portal that we have. And I don't know what this area is for. I think this is for stables or something like that. Yes, this is where she keeps her horses. I think some visitors also use horses there, so therefore that's why we've got a couple extra there. But what I came here for is the cleric. So what I do here is I drop off the previous boat. And let's start to get this here. That's the tricky thing, is I don't know of a way in order to go uphill on there. So what I'm doing here then is, let us put a... Okay, the gates require... Well, then I won't worry about gates then. I'll do... The idea here is I'm trying to put a fence up here so that when I release the cleric, because the only way I know about doing this right now is to actually release the cleric temporarily. Alright, then we'll do that. We'll just be careful here. I don't want to... The idea here then is to have 3 clerics at each of the 3 temples. At 4 temples, yeah, so each of the 4 temples will have a cleric. There you go, into there. Give you a boat there. Into the boat, good. And then once that is done, I can take care of that. And I'll be needing some of this later. Good. Into the boat. But actually, I think I... Ah! Did I? No, that's... Ah, there it is. I thought I missed one somewhere. There you go. And now we take the trip all the way down to my base. Now, the reason why this works is because the trip to my base is downhill. There are no uphill climbs going from Stina Rose's base all the way up to my base, so therefore I can do this without having to worry about it. Otherwise, I would have had a tedious thing about going over water from her island. And once I went over water, trying to get her into the tunnel where I have the Ender Pearl toss game over at, it go through that tunnel over there. That would require a few uphill areas, so I think that would have been a lot more difficult. Most likely would have involved things like mine carts and all sorts of fun stuff like that. And what I have to do here is nice and easy. That's the reason why I first thought of Stina Rose when I was thinking about, alright, where would I get some village? That and the fact that she is the closest neighbor that I have. So if your closest neighbor has a spawner that is spewing out villagers, what better place to go to for this? Now let me head on and get all the way back to my hub. Now that I'm back in the overworld, it's trying to convince the cleric to move into the boat. Well, that was a... How'd I manage to do that? What's that doing up there? Oh, that's probably just to... No. Don't carry axe when... You make that difficult for me, don't you? Ah, thank you! And now we can be away and... Let me open this up. And it's time for us to head down. Now, this is my third cleric, and the first three are being put into the Earth Temple since the Earth Temple is already complete. Then after that, I'll need to get the Water Temple up to the state where I could start adding clerics there. Because the idea is to have 3 clerics for each of the 4 temples. And I thought that that would help to add a little population to it, because what good is a temple if you don't have a few clerics there? So let us head on to the Earth Temple. We have arrived. And we've got the cleric in there. Now let's... Actually, I don't think there's much danger of the cows getting out at this point. But I do have the other clerics to worry about. Hopefully they don't escape while I do this. Look, won't you join your fellow earth priests inside there? There you go. There you go. See, there's one over there. And let's see, 37. Not a bad trade there. 9 on the gold. All right. Middling on that. I'll have to see what kind of glowstone trades he has, because that is something to see about. Maybe I can get a decent glowstone trade at some point on one of these. But I'll need, of course, zombie flesh in order to do that. Now, I hadn't been worried about zombie flesh all that much, because it was just a secondary item. And I occasionally went over to Stina Rose's base in order to trade some over there in order to get some glowstone. So I didn't worry too much about zombie flesh. And I never developed the zombie spawners that I had seen earlier. Okay, one of them I turned into a little bit of a mini game, the ordeal that we have up here. But I also found another one early on, and for a long time I lost it, but after thinking of the idea of the clerics, I decided to try to find it again. And eventually I did, and I dug out a new section here. Still not quite done yet, but I do have right here, there is a zombie spawner. I don't have it quite decorated yet, but I do have a no-frills zombie XP farm here, so I could use it to get a little bit of extra XP to help fix my weapons, and of course, most of all, to get the zombie flesh that I will need for some trading. Let's start with the main chamber of the temple. In the original module, we have an oval pool in the middle. We will therefore make this mostly a square, though I will vary it a little bit, as you'll see in a moment. What I'm going to start out with is a 6x6 area, 6x6 meter. It'll be, in the original module, it was 20 feet by 20 feet, and as I'm sure I've mentioned before, I am taking anything that says it's 10 feet and changing that into 3 meters, so therefore 20 by 20 gives us 6 by 6 meters, so therefore this will be the pool area. And this is where we're going to have our living pool. Now, the tiles for this are very explicitly noted as being made of lapis. Now, since we don't too often get explicit instructions as to the materials, I decided I will have to follow what they say here. Now, unfortunately, if you are following what's happening with my inventory there, you'll see that I will be out of lapis well before I finish this. So, therefore, we are going to have to come up with a solution to get more lapis. That means a bit of a mining session is going to be required for that. 4, 5, 6. Now, ideally, I would also have lapis at the bottom here, but obviously that is not going to happen, so therefore I'm going to do it only on the edge. Now, the question is, how do I compensate for the fact that I only have 3 more pieces? Now, I will mine and maybe get some replacement for what's missing later. So what I'm going to do is this. Take out these. This. And do this. And probably spend a lot of time mining, getting more lapis so that I can have lapis all around. There you go. But for now, I have it around here. We'll throw some sea lanterns here for lighting. That should actually take care of lighting for the entire room, I would hope. Oh, and maybe not for the entire room. I'll also use some sea lanterns here. That way we can have a nice mixed light all around. So this will go around here. This will help me to save on lapis, which is one reason for doing this. And the other one, of course, is to make sure that I've got light, because we certainly don't want nasty things spawning all over in this place. Let's get rid of these torches. Now, for the bottom of the pool, I have nowhere near the amount of lapis in order to make that into lapis. So what do I do for that? First off, as a nod to the oval shape in the module, I will move these back here. And then on the bottom, what I'll do is I will, of course, use our old friend, Prismarine, since that's obviously watery enough. Like that. And in the middle, we're doing all sorts of things for the middle here. First off, I'll replace this part of it with some sea lanterns. Not that you're going to see that, because we are going to have our friend, the slime, and so therefore this will be a cube. Now, as I said earlier, I've decided to use a built cube instead of trying to get a live one, so I won't have this thing jumping all over the place and harming any clerics that are around here. And the other is, of course, the nod to DDO, which used a gelatinous cube for this particular place. Now, what I want to do here is, of course, to have some water, because having a pool without water just doesn't sound right. There you go. And there. And there. So let's just go all around here, get all the water we can get. And perhaps have a area full of source blocks if I do this right. That takes care of the floor, but we now have to worry about the walls and how I want each of those to go. What I'm going to do for that is have this work out onto a 4x4 area for each of these. And on the bottom of this, we'll have prismarine brick for each of these sections. Like that. And then we are going to invoke our all nice trusty friend, glazed terracotta. Now let's see how long it takes me to get this right. After much trial and error, that's what I get. It doesn't look as good on the bedroom side, but Since these are the sleeping quarters right here, I don't think that's going to matter all that much. So this is the side we're going to be mainly concerned with, and I think that'll work going around the side of these walls. I just have to figure out what to do with this. But I'm going to finish out the rest of these walls, and when we return for the next episode, we will go and tackle the ceiling for the next episode of Piney Plays Minecraft Welstopia. The walls are now complete. For the little parts here, I decided to go just with prismarine bricks simply because I wanted to make sure that this didn't look all funny when I did that. So therefore we need to do the ceiling. Now the ceiling is very explicitly described in the module as being made from crystal. Now we don't have crystal, but we do have glass, which is also transparent, so that's what I'm going to be using. But for background for that, I'm going to be using polished diorite, and then I'll be putting the glass over it like that. And the reason for the usage on diorite is because they're talking about it reflecting light and such. I thought, well, maybe a whitish stone is probably the best thing to use for that. So therefore I'm choosing polished diorite for that one. So let me get this all up. Nah, that's not quite it. I also need to do this edge here. Replace the edge also with polished diorite. I thought I could get away with not doing that, but no, it looks completely wrong if I don't. There you go, that's a little bit better. And for the lip over here, I will top it off with the other item that I have that's getting close to crystal, and that of course is quartz. Since crystal is just clear quartz, so I'll use white quartz obviously for this, since that's the only type we've got in Minecraft. And just go all the way around here. And that should finish up our water temple, at least the inner part of it. Actually, this is the main part of the temple. These are just the quarters and the outer area. But there we go. That is the water temple. And that is also all the time we have for today. When we return next time, we are going to take care of the outer areas. This room over here, which calls for a arch ceiling, though we'll have to do compromise on that, of course, and then do the quarters. But that's for the next episode of Piney Plays Minecraft Welstopia.